Did you guys really think this was all gonna be about just a Nissan? I didn't think so. Pontiac Vibe Modified! Oh crap! Cut. This diamond-in-the-rough American classic collector's edition Pontiac is the Japanese-built 2009 Vibe all-wheel drive gem, an engineering work of art and technological marvel, hiding a 2.4-liter inline 4-cylinder engine capable of giving you full command of all 158 responsive horsepower. I've done everything in this zippy little torque-mobile, from cruising America's automotive aortic artery, nostalgic Woodward Ave, to mushing through northern Michigan's winter wonderland, visiting the southern beauty of the Smoky Mountains and George's Pines, and even fleeing way up to the exotic reaches of southern Canada. Memorable family road trips, the daily commute gauntlet, suspension stressing load hauls, there's nothing this car can't do. While she soon won't find herself on the cover of Import Tuner or spotlight an article of American muscle, I'll be darned if this isn't the greatest automobile man has ever made.
Alright, so on this Pontiac Vibe, what year again?
09.
Old school Pontiac Vibe.
It is now a classic because they don't make Pontiac anymore. So this is like...
This is one of those long gone brands that will now be valuable within
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
What are we doing to this car? What toys do we have?
Okay, so we got our parts. We talked about it before. We're doing the brakes. And so we ordered. Thank you, Internet. So we got our...
Cross drilled and slotted. Beautiful. I love it.
Okay, got that.
They've even labeled them for us. How kind of them.
Ceramic pads.
Ceramic pads, very good.
We got those. And what else we got? We got some springs. Open this up. So these are going to be our lowering springs.
And you can't go wrong with a Tane spring, ever.
So, pretty cool. And then we also have where it's new headlights. Those here.
It's like Christmas, opening up presents. You have the right tool for opening up the presents. Does your car have this many lights?
We ordered a bunch of different colors. So we can see, check the brightness and the color, see what we like.
And what colors did you order?
So, we've got white, we've got a blue tint, a pink tint, and a purple tint. So, we'll check them out. So, they said that some of the tints are not as bright as just the plain white. So, we'll see what I like. I'm just particular about having really bright lights, having been in an accident with a moose before. So, anyways.
This story to come, obviously.
I guess. All right.
Let's get to work.
We got our gear, and we'll start working.
Okay, let's do this.
Now, when I was a teenager, I was taught a very valuable lesson about power tools. You should have already stopped paying attention. Now, the reason they're called power tools is not they can do what you can't. It's that they can do what you can do infinitely faster. I've never forgotten that lesson. After taking off both the wheels, we set to work removing the brakes and rotors in order to access the springs. Time for some more advice. Stop listening. Not only are two heads better than one, but another set of hands can be really helpful when you hit a tough spot, especially if they're wielding a power tool. Remember what I said about power tools. I'll never forget it. Ever. We decided not to take the top cowl panel off in order to save time, but ended up being restricted in working space and had to use an open-end wrench because the ratchet wouldn't fit. This reminds me of another valuable lesson I learned when I was younger. Work smarter, not harder. There's a whole backstory to that, but look how much time we saved. When removing the brake caliper, we came upon our next challenge, a stubborn bolt. And it's time for our third valuable lesson. At least I think it's third. I've honestly lost track at this point, and you should have already stopped paying attention. It's that we are just not strong enough. Okay, just kidding. If brute force doesn't work, you're not using enough. Okay, also kidding. It's that your brain is your strongest weapon. If one tool doesn't work, use another tool to further enhance the principles of physics in your favor. Or just borrow Thor's hammer. By the power of Mjolnir! 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 Oh my gosh, that was ridiculous. Remember what I said about power tools? I'll never forget it. With the bolts out, we could lightly tap the caliper free. Just tap it off. Little tap, tap, tap-a-roo. Upon close inspection of the brake pads, we could see it was worn way past the metal indicators. Another lesson. Stop paying attention. Use it up, wear it out, make do, or do without. But not brakes. For your safety and liability purposes, I cannot stress enough. Do not do without brake pads. We were finally able to remove the old strut with a little brain power and some elbow grease. We used spring compressors to then take the old springs off the strut and put on the new springs. Now with the new springs installed, we just reverse every step and we'll be all done. Remembering all the lessons we've learned on the way and installing the new brake pads and rotors as we go.
This is a butt shot. Dude, I think you can see my freaking face underneath my legs. Ah! I like to move it. I like to move it.
That will be your $1 million gig right there.
Now dance like a monkey, John. You want to see my butt?
We now had to do the back springs. We decided not to remove all the panels in the trunk in order to save time. Again, work harder, not smarter. Or something like that. We had to use a socket wrench due to limited working space, but look how much time we saved. After removing all the panels in the trunk, we were finally able to use a power tool to release the top of the strut. Again, remember what I said about power tools. I'll never forget it. We then removed the rotors and caliper just like the front. But unlike while working on the front, we saved so much time that we never had to say we're just not strong enough. Nope, not strong enough. Be sure to learn from others' mistakes. But if not, make sure you learn from your own quickly. The quicker the better. Please. As quickly as possible. Or you may even be forced to develop life's greatest skill. Patience. And possibly even character. We removed the back struts, but unfortunately we ran out of daylight to continue filming as we put on the new springs, rotors, and pads. Imagine if we hadn't already saved all that time by working smarter. So, just because the lights went out and we couldn't shoot anymore outside with the video camera doesn't mean we don't know how to have a really good time. I mean, when it's dark, you're under the car, covered in grease, rolling around, craziness can happen. Things can get real crazy. And there were actually 3 different things. We did actually have 3 obstacles, three difficulties that popped up. So the first one was that when we were doing the springs, we did finally get the rear springs in, but I'm just still so glad that we did it all injury-free, no serious injuries, but we almost lost a hand, and I cannot stress enough, safety first when you're doing modify. Safety first in anything, but safety first. Second situation that we had was when we were doing the pads, and when we were doing the pads on the brakes, somebody accidentally pressed the brake. Yeah, it was my fault. So anyways, the piston had come out and we weren't sure that it completely popped out. And after 2 C-clamps were twisted in half, we were trying to just use the power of physics to twist those, to just try to get the piston back in after we had caused 2 C-clamps to snap in half. We got to go get a new, we had to go get a new caliper. So anyways, so that was the second obstacle, second difficulty that happened. And so we had to, like, all right, go to the Napa, go to the auto store, whatever spot. And we went there. Then we had to, oh, you don't have it here. Oh, you have it at another location. Well, we can drive over there faster than it's going to take you like a day to ship it over here. So we had to run and pick that up the next day. And then the third difficulty that arose was there was a bolt that was not coming free. So we saw all it, cut it off, said, we'll just buy a new bolt. What's it going to cost us? So you would think. Anyways, the bolt that we cut was a metric bolt, and we were in the greater automotive birthplace of America, Southeast Michigan, and nobody carried these metric bolts. So the size we were looking for, off the top of my head, I forget the exact size, but nobody carried it. It was a very large metric bolt, and we had to go to some of these bolt specialties. I forget, it was like Urban Bolt, Suburban Bolt, someplace like that. Anyways, we go and we show up at 8 a.m. So we had to wake up the crack of crazy early to, all right, we got to get the caliper, we got to go get the bolt, we got to do all these things. So anyways, we did eventually find this bolt, but it was not the time saver that we thought, by just, all right, let's just save time, cut the bolt, and then just buy a new one. Anyways, it cost us in the long run. But anyways, so that was some of the fun that we had once the lights went out and the next day. Yeah, so remember, learn from others' mistakes. Always learn from others' mistakes. Now, after all that smart work, time to see the finished project. We slowly lowered the front end while listening to Lowrider, and were quite happily surprised by how low it got. In fact, it got so low, I accidentally got the jack stuck. Gotta buy a new jack. Okay, instead of getting a new jack, we just put some boards under the back tires and used our brain. And that is the fun you can have when results exceed expectations, when you modify!